Hello, hello. Welcome back to our learning adventure. I am so excited to share today's story with you. Let's learn, practice, and grow our English together. Let's go!
Hello, and welcome back to English for Beginners. I'm Tom. In our previous series, we built a foundation for your daily habits. But today, we are going to do something different. We are going to explore the narrative. You see, we are all storytellers. Every time you speak, you are telling the story of who you are. To speak English with real confidence, you must learn to tell your own story. I reflect on the journey that brought me to this moment. I honor the version of myself that started this learning path. I understand that my history is the foundation of my future. I use English to explain where I come from and where I am going. Think about an old photograph of yourself. Perhaps you were a child, or perhaps you were at a different stage in your life. When you look at that photo, you have a story to tell. You might say, when I was younger, I lived in a different city. Or, at that time, I was working in a very different job. Today, we are going to practice the past simple and the past continuous. These are the tenses of your history. They allow you to paint a picture of who you were so that people can understand who you are today. I describe my childhood home with simple, clear details. I talk about the people who influenced my early life. I explain how my interests changed as I grew older. I am comfortable sharing the simple facts of my personal history. My voice becomes steady as I recall these precious memories. Notice the structure. I lived, I worked, I was learning, I wanted. When you tell a story, you don't need complex words. You need rhythm. Practice these sentences. I was a student when I moved here. I felt nervous, but I was excited. When you link these short sentences, you create a narrative flow. Don't worry about the past being perfect. Your history is yours, and describing it in English is an act of ownership. I use simple past tense to describe finished actions. I use past continuous to set the scene for my stories. I practice these tenses until they feel natural to my tongue. I realize that every mistake is just a part of the storytelling process. I am learning to narrate my life with clarity and grace. Why do we talk about the past in English? It is because our past explains our present. When you can say, I learned English because I wanted to grow, you are not just practicing grammar. You are confirming your motivation. You are telling the world and yourself why this mission matters. As you practice this, think of your favorite memory. How would you tell that story to a friend? Start small. Use 3 sentences. Keep it simple. I choose one story from my past to narrate today. I describe the feeling of that moment using simple adjectives. I focus on the sequence of events to keep my story organized. I am proud of the progress I have made since that time. I share my past with confidence and a sense of gratitude. As we conclude this first part, I want you to remember this. You are not the same person you were when you started learning English. You are someone who has faced the challenge of a new language and succeeded. That is a significant part of your history. By talking about your past, you validate your growth. You prove that you are moving forward. Keep this perspective. You are a builder of narratives, and your story is just getting started. I recognize the evolution of my own identity. I embrace the lessons learned from every past experience. I see my English journey as a major chapter in my life. I am ready to tell my story to the world. I look forward to the chapters I will write tomorrow. In our last session, we looked into the mirror of the past. Today, we turn our gaze toward the horizon. If the past is the foundation, the future is the sky, vast, open, and waiting for your dreams. To speak English with authority, you must be able to talk about your goals, your plans, and your intentions. Today, we master the language of the will, the going to, and the future. I stand at the edge of my potential and look forward. I visualize the person I am becoming through this journey. I understand that my future is built by my actions today. I use English to define my dreams with clarity and conviction. Imagine you are holding a map of a city you have never visited. You have your finger on the starting point, and you are tracing a line to a beautiful destination. When you talk about your future, you are drawing that map. Don't be afraid to dream big. You might say, I am going to travel to an English-speaking country, or I will be able to speak fluently in my meetings. These aren't just guesses, they are promises. When you speak these sentences aloud, you are setting a direction for your subconscious mind. I talk about my goals with excitement and belief. I use going to describe the plans I have already made. I use will to express my promises and my firm intentions. I clearly visualize the success I am working toward. My voice sounds stronger when I talk about my future. Grammar is often taught as a set of rules, but let's look at it as a set of tools for builders. I am going to. I am planning. I will. I am committed. These are your tools. Practice them with purpose. I am going to practice for 15 minutes today. I will stay consistent with my learning. Notice the difference? The first is a plan. The second is a vow. Both are necessary. When you speak these in your English Unleashed voice, slowly, clearly, and with heart, you make your intentions real. I define my specific goals for the next 3 months. I break my big dreams into small, manageable steps. I commit to the process, not just the final result. I celebrate the small wins that lead me to my goal. I am the architect of my own future success. It is natural to feel a little fear when you think about the future. You might think, what if I fail? What if it is too hard? That is the shadow of your ambition. But remember, the architect does not fear the blueprints. The architect understands them. If you feel nervous, talk about it in English. I feel nervous about my future, but I am excited to grow. By speaking your fear, you lose its power. You transform doubt into a simple observation. This is the mark of a master communicator. I acknowledge my fears and release them with a breath. I choose to focus on the progress, not the obstacles. I speak my intentions to keep my vision alive. I trust in my ability to learn and adapt as I go. I am moving toward my goals with steady determination.
As we finish this part, consider this. The future is not a place you go. It is a place you create. Every time you open your mouth to practice, you are constructing that future. You are adding a brick to the bridge. Don't look for a finish line. Look for the next step. Your fluency is not a static object. It is an evolving, living, breathing story. You are the protagonist, the narrator, and the writer. Write a good one. I am writing a story of persistence and growth. I embrace the challenges that test my commitment. I am proud of the vision I have created for myself. I step into the future with an open and curious mind. I am becoming the fluent speaker I always wanted to be.
We have explored where you came from, and we have envisioned where you are going. Now, we come to the most important part of the narrative: connection. Language is not meant to stay inside your head. It is a bridge. It is the tool we use to reach out and touch the lives of others. Today, we learn how to share our story in a way that builds real human connection. I recognize that my story has value to other people. I speak to connect, not just to show off my knowledge. I listen to understand the stories of those around me. I use English as a medium for empathy and friendship.
Imagine you are sitting at a table with a new acquaintance. You are both speaking English. Instead of talking about the weather or the news, you share a small piece of your history. You say, "I grew up in a city by the river, and that is why I love the water." Immediately, the other person smiles. They share a story of their own. This is the shared table effect. When you reveal a small part of your humanity, you give the other person permission to reveal theirs. You don't need perfect grammar to do this. You need heart. I invite others into my world with simple, open questions. I share my experiences with honesty and vulnerability. I find common ground in the stories we both share. I make others feel comfortable by speaking with kindness. I learn. To connect, we use the language of engagement. Tell me more. That sounds wonderful. I understand how you feel. Can you explain that? These phrases are the connective tissue of conversation. When you use them, you are not just a student. You are a friend. Practice the rhythm of these phrases. Don't rush. Let the other person feel that you are truly present. I hear you. That is a very interesting story. These simple words hold more power than complex vocabulary ever could. I use phrases of interest to keep the conversation flowing. I ask follow-up questions to show I am really listening. I validate the feelings of the person I am talking to. I build trust through steady, gentle communication. I enjoy the process of learning about new people. I know what you were thinking. But Tom, what if my accent is too strong? What if I make a mistake while I am trying to connect? Let me tell you a secret. Nobody cares about your grammar as much as they care about your message. If you speak with warmth, people will feel it. If you smile and try to understand, people will respect you. The fear of judgment is just a wall that keeps you from the table. Knock it down. Simply say, I am still learning, but I would love to hear your story. I choose to believe that people are generally kind. I let go of the pressure to be perfect in my speech. I focus on the feeling of connection, not the fear of error. I am confident in my ability to communicate with others. I embrace the beauty of human interaction in English. Think of your personal story as a gift you give to others. When you tell your story, you are giving someone a piece of your perspective, your culture, and your life. This is a generous act. Don't keep it hidden. Even with limited English, your story is powerful. Use the simple words you know. Use your hands to gesture. Use your eyes to show emotion. Fluency is not just about the tongue. It is about the whole person. I value the unique perspective I bring to the world. I contribute to the conversation with my own authentic voice. I am grateful for the chance to meet new people in English. I am becoming a bridge builder through my daily interactions. I share my truth with clarity, courage, and compassion. We have arrived at the final stage of our narrative series. We have honored the past, envisioned the future, and built bridges of connection. Now we reach the summit, integration. This is where you stop thinking of yourself as a student of English and start seeing yourself as a storyteller in English. You are no longer just practicing. You are living your story in a new language. I embrace my identity as an English storyteller. I own my voice, my accent, and my unique way of speaking. I see every day as a new page in my personal narrative. I am comfortable in the flow of the English language. I speak from my heart, and my words have real meaning. Do you know what makes a storyteller great? It isn't the number of words they know. It is the ability to make the listener feel. When you talk about a difficult day, do you just say, "It was hard"? Or do you describe the feeling of the wind on your face, the sound of the traffic, or the heavy feeling in your chest? That is the art of storytelling. Today, we practice moving from stating facts to painting pictures. This is the highest level of fluency, the ability to evoke emotion. I describe the setting of my stories with sensory details. I use simple, powerful words to evoke strong emotions. I pause to let my listener imagine the scene I am painting. I realize that silence can be as powerful as my words. I am learning to craft my stories with rhythm and depth. To express yourself, use the language of the senses. I remember the smell of. I felt the warmth of. The sound was. It looked like. These phrases invite the listener into your mind. When you practice, don't just say the sentence. Close your eyes. See the scene. The more you see the story, the more naturally the English words will come to you. You are moving from translating from your native language to thinking in English imagery. I use descriptive adjectives to bring my stories to life. I practice speaking with a slow, deliberate pace.
I focus on the tone of my voice to reflect my emotions. I am becoming more expressive and confident every day. I enjoy the freedom of expressing myself in a new way.
Look back at the beginning of this series. You were thinking about your past, your future, and how to connect. Now, look at where you are. You have told your story. You have looked at the horizon. You have reached out to others. You are no longer just a listener. You are a participant in the global conversation. The fear that once held you back is now just a memory. You have replaced it with the confidence of a storyteller. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of your real voice. I am the author of my own English experience. I trust the process that has brought me to this point. I am ready to share my story with the world beyond this podcast. I celebrate my growth, my courage, and my dedication. I am a fluent, capable, and authentic communicator.
If you had fun learning with me, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so we can keep practicing together. And hey, don't leave me hanging. Drop your answers in the comments below. I can't wait to read them. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.